Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome into another edition of Moving the Goalposts Leftovers. I'm Nick DiMartino. That's Nick Morgeson. He's hanging out with me today. And we have to lead off with I think we had to scrap all the plans for what we were going to do for leftovers after the Giants loss. The Giants just lost a game in the way that you see college football teams lose. And even then, they end up getting excoriated for that. The Giants just lost possibly the worst game I've ever seen. I don't know what it is with the Giants, but they're always the team that loses games because of their kicking. It seems like this is an issue only with the Giants. I mean, last year they lost to the Commanders because they didn't even have a kicker.
Who was that? That was Graham Gano, I think was the kicker.
It was Graham Gano that was injured, and
And
who is injured now too.
that was the game where they just constantly went for 2-point conversions because they just didn't trust any kicker they had in their organization
Well,
whatsoever.
actually, it was a similar thing against the Chiefs earlier this year when Graham Gano was hurt, and they actually did bring him in to kick a chip shot field goal at one point.
Oh, the punter. And then he got hurt, if I remember correctly, also.
Yeah, Jude McAtamney, if I'm not
I
pronouncing
think
that
you're right.
correctly,
Yeah.
is the Giants kicker that missed two extra points. It costed them 3 points because afterwards they ended up going for two when they were up 19-0. Really bad decision by Brian Dable. He should have just kicked the extra point. They were up 20. It would have put them up 20-0. Now, a lot of the blame definitely does fall on the kicker. That's, I mean, there's no question about that. But I mean, some of it really, you do have to put some of the blame on the coaching because I mean, how you blow a game like that,
Well, let's look at something else too. 33 unanswered points in the fourth quarter.
Exactly.
Which is, I had to go back because we were watching Red Zone. By the way, I've been on here since noon Eastern and just got off at like 7:40. So if my mind's a little cloudy, forgive me. But watching that whole game, they were up 19-0 at one point in this game. And we said, oh, we're not going to think about this game for the most part. Then they score the first touchdown. Then they start putting more up. And then they go for two a few times and they hit it. And I'm like, for me, the only thing I was kind of worrying about this whole game was the over going to hit because that was the pick I made for 40.5.
Well,
Which
it definitely hit.
it hit. Right. But that was the one that was worried. Then that hit. And I said, okay, I'm not going to worry about this anymore. And then they tied it in the fourth quarter. And I'm like, okay, what just happened? Like, is the offense good or is the defense really bad?
The over hit in the fourth quarter by itself.
Well, that too. But no, but my point is, like, is the Broncos, like, is their offense really, I shouldn't say really good. Are they decent where they could come back? Or is the Giants defense so poor that they just give up a lot of points?
I think a little bit of both. I mean, here's the thing though. The Broncos, they didn't score a single point for the first 3 quarters.
Correct.
But so their offense can't be that good.
What frustrated me more is that the Giants almost got bailed out by a pass interference call because I don't even think that was pass interference. I don't think it was that egregious.
The one in the end zone?
I don't think that was pass interference.
That was clearly a pass interference. You don't think that was a pass interference? Like, I'm no Giant fan. I don't like them. I have no dog in this fight other than the Giants covering the spread, which they were going to do no matter what. That was clearly a pass interference.
I think you got to let that one go. Like, because
but it was so blatant.
I don't know if I would say it was blatant.
Tackled the guy.
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't think the ball was 100% catchable either.
Well, that's a different question, but I mean, look, to call it a ball uncatchable, it has to be very, very clearly uncatchable, 10 feet above somebody's head.
But they made it sound like he hogtied the guy.
Do we have footage of it?
I can see if I can find it, but I'll have to look for it.
Review it. I think it was clearly a pass interference. It doesn't matter anymore. The Giants lost.
And they almost didn't get the touchdown either. But I don't know if you saw that weird play they pulled with Jackson Dart to go ahead where they
Where
spread
they
the
ended up
line out.
reviewing it because
No,
it
no,
was in the final 2 minutes, that game?
no, no. I'm talking about today where they spread the line out to get Jackson Dart in when he was rushing the ball in to give them the lead. It was
Yeah,
very
that
odd. Yeah, it was very
well,
odd.
no, but the call was overturned. They
Yes.
initially
Yes, you're
ruled
right.
him short.
Yeah, yes. But that was odd. Like they were stacked and then they spread out. Like it was
Yeah, it worked. I mean,
it worked, but oh, here's the video. I think I found it. Let me just make sure. Yeah, okay. Thanks a lot,
well,
underdog. You put
cheers.
I'm gonna put it up right now.
All right, there you go.
Here is. It's gonna be a little small, but you could definitely
Well,
see it.
well, you can enlarge it.
I have to remember. All right, not the point.
Those 2 arrows.
Well, oh, to full screen it, you mean?
Yeah, on the, on Twitter.
Where is it? All right.
Yeah, no, there it is, right there.
Oh, this one. There we go.
But go back, so we can actually see it.
Yeah.
That's a pass interference.
Let me go back there. Hold on.
Yeah,
No,
that's a pass interference.
I don't see it because I think he was trying to turn. The ball was not there yet. So how do you?
Exactly.
But
You have to turn your.
I get it. But I
But
don't.
that's always like by the rule book. That's always called a pass interference. That would be viewed. That would if they didn't call that, Giant fans would have been like, "We got screwed. We got screwed."
Well,
And they wouldn't have been totally wrong.
can I steal saying from you all the time where you say like one side is always going to complain when they don't get a call constantly?
Yeah.
They all do. But I don't know.
Okay, let's put it this way: if that was the Chiefs and they
They would have called that.
didn't call that against the Chiefs, people would have been like, "Oh, the game is rigged in favor of the Chiefs."
Well, you saw in the Chiefs Lions game, right? The investigation that went down after the game because of the first touchdown
Yeah.
of the game.
I
Where
think it's a little bit of a nothing burger.
it is a little odd though that
But like that's always they review every scoring play. It's automatic.
but I'm saying the way they kind of went about it was a little odd.
I mean, maybe I'm missing something here, but like every scoring play is reviewed in New York. Isn't that what happens every single scoring play?
But they
And
said
they also made the correct call.
I'm trying to look it up.
Like I'm a little confused about this. Why that's such a big deal?
I'm trying to see if I can actually find why they were.
Like to me, the whole like the NFL rigs games in favor of the Chiefs. Like I just think it's so unbelievably stupid.
Okay, so wait a minute. So controversial sequence during Chief Lions game on Sunday, October 12th involved the nullification of a potential first quarter touchdown, an apparent trick play touchdown pass to Jared Goff, which a lot of people, by the way, who were gambling on Jared Goff having the first touchdown
Yeah.
and would have made a lot of money, by the way, because the odds on it were like ridiculous. And it was flagged for illegal motion, and then it says prompting conflicting accounts about whether the league's replay center in New York improperly intervened in the call.
How does that work though?
Because you can't challenge a penalty.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that happens all the time. I mean, look, I think people are making a little too much of this. I think that the whole like I said, the whole cheat like when people talk about how the NFL like rigs games for the Chiefs. First of all,
that's ridiculous.
First of all, the Chiefs ended up blowing them out anyway. The Chiefs win that game regardless. And also, like, if it's true that the NFL from the top down controls results like this, why have the New York teams been so consistently terrible for almost the past decade?
I agree with you. I don't think they're rigging games.
Jets and Giants, it's not in the NFL's best interest for the Jets and Giants, although the Giants aren't so bad now, to have been such bad franchises over the past 10 years.
No, but I understand where some people are coming from because some of it is more circumstantial than it is coincidence when certain
Right.
things
Well,
happen.
right. But to
So
me,
yeah,
I think that the Chiefs, I think there is a certain, in all professional sports, there's always been a certain level of favoritism that stars get. Although I think it's also the case that it's the reverse correlation, which is that star players are the best at taking advantage of the system. So, like, people talk about like SGA getting foul calls, and because he's like, this, he was the MVP last year, in my opinion, the second best
all
player in the
stars
NBA.
get foul calls. It's not just
Right,
him.
but or LeBron and things like that, but I think also it's the case that guys like LeBron and Shea and Harden and all these guys that are good, that are floppers that get a lot of foul calls, they're also probably the best at taking advantage of the system to get those calls because they're smart players. Like, I think that's a big part of it too. So I don't even necessarily think it's always them getting favorable treatment. I think a lot of people just cherry pick all these calls. Like, people talk about roughing the passer calls on Mahomes, and I think there's some truth to Mahomes getting roughing the passer calls.
Go
But
ask Brady.
he's the best at taking advantage of the system.
Well, wait a
He's
minute.
smarter than everybody
You
else, I
really
think.
you want to talk about roughing the passer? Let's go back to Tom Brady, who got every freaking call.
Yeah.
I could have tucked him into bed on some of these on roughing the passer
Although to
calls
some extent you see this. Look, roughing the passer has gone completely
sideways.
has yeah, but it's been like that for a long time.
Yeah, but Brady, like he would fall over and they would call it roughing the passer. Like,
Yeah, and it's a similar thing with Mahomes. But I mean, look, there was a rough in the passer call against John Franklin Myers on Jackson Dart that I thought was a little ridiculous. Like, I think rough in the passer has just gone completely out of control in the NFL. I mean, it's similar to what targeting has become in college football, where
oh
guys are
god,
getting ejected for like
but
hits that really aren't dirty. And it's the same thing with roughing the passer. Like, if you tackle the guy a little too hard or you hit him a millisecond too late, I mean, it's ridiculous.
the problem is roughing the passer, targeting. They're all interpretation. There's no like rule book, so to speak. Even though they say
Oh,
like, no. My point is like they say
roughing the
don't.
passer, yes. Roughing
No,
the
no, no,
passer.
no, no, no. But my point is like for roughing the passer, they say don't hit above the shoulders, don't hit the head area.
Yeah.
Like, but my point is there's still interpretation to roughing a
Right.
passer, meaning that one ref sees it one way and another ref could see it another way. There's no one size fits all roughing the passer
Correct.
call. Like pass interference. For the most part, pass interference is pass interference when it
Right.
happens, except for the 1 year that they tried to make pass interference reviewable, and it screwed the which team was it that they screwed out of the playoffs?
It was
For,
a.
was it the
Are you talking
Saints?
about the Saints?
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
It's
no, they were screwed out of the Super Bowl.
that's what I meant. I couldn't remember exactly, but
It
yes,
was the Super Bowl. It was the NFC Championship game, and we ended up actually getting one of the worst Super Bowls ever. The Patriots played a terrible game, and yeah, imagine if we could have had a Brady Breeze Super Bowl if not for that missed pass interference.
I mean I think Brady would have won anyway. But my point is,
Probably, but yeah, that was pre Lions. That was Rams Jared Goff, who I would say was a level below the Lions Jared Goff.
I mean, that was totally different. That's when you had Stafford and Goff in different places, and they finally were winning in the places they needed to win. But I don't know. I mean, you are right, by the way. I think they were the pass interference that they called hitting Jackson Dart was egregious. I don't think that was even close to a
No,
pass interference at all.
you mean the rough in the
I
passer?
mean, roughing the passer. Yes, the roughing the passer was egregious. It was really bad. Like he barely got tipped over.
But just for the Giants, like, this is worse than the Deshaun Jackson game. I mean,
That's putting it lightly.
they give up 33 points in one quarter. How is that even possible?
You're literally saying what I said when we finished the game. Like I said,
But, like, how is that
33
possible?
points. I first of all, I'm trying to do math in my head based on like so we're 15-minute quarter, 33 points. I mean, I don't think it was all touchdowns, though. I think there was a field goal or two in there. There was some 2-point conversions in there.
There are also some, yeah, yeah.
So there had to be at least 3 or 4 touchdowns. So that takes time to go up and down the field
Well,
alone.
one of them was an
Oh, a
one of
pick
them, the
six.
Broncos.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, right, right. So there was an interception involved and all that
But 33 points, you're right, is a bear. Like it's rarefied air that they scored 33 unanswered points in the fourth quarter. Like
in one quarter.
in one
Like
quarter.
even in a half, that would be bad. 33 unanswered. I mean, scoring 33 points in an entire game is still above average.
So Ari Mirov puts out these weird stats after the game, and this one actually I think is so NFL teams had won 1,602 straight games when leading by 18 plus points in the final 6 minutes. The Giants led 26-8 with 6 minutes left, and the Broncos came back to win 33-32
For how many straight games?
over 1,600
That's crazy.
with 18 plus point lead.
I think that look, as much as we have to blame the kicking, which to some extent you do have to blame the kicker, I also think it was really stupid of Brian Dable to go for two when they would have just gone up 20-0. They
Yes.
should have just kicked the extra point rather than trying to chase points. It was dumb.
I mean, I think I said to Christian and Dino when we were sitting there, I said, "What is this? They add insult to injury, like 2-point conversion at 19-0."
No, well,
And
they wanted to make he wanted to go up 3 touchdowns.
no,
In
I get it.
fairness,
I get it.
in fairness, the play call for going I mean going for 2 was stupid. But the play that they ran was not bad. They made a good play on defense. Because it was a throw to Wan'Dale Robinson
Yeah.
almost in the end zone. So it wasn't terrible. They probably would have been better off running it with Dart. He probably would have had a better shot. They would have
Well,
had a
look
better
what
shot.
happened. Look what happened at near the end of the game. I mean, they
Right.
got the call right, thank God, because he definitely crossed over the plane of the end zone.
Yeah, and but they should if they had just kicked the extra point, they would have look, at least they would have been in overtime. But here's the thing also. How is it the case that now not only did they give up 33 33 points in just the fourth quarter, but like it would have the Denver just ran out of time. They probably would have scored a touchdown on that drive if they just had a little bit more time. How is it that your defense in one quarter becomes so dysfunctional? Like it's almost inexplicable. It's like when the Eagles offense goes dormant for a period of time. That's what the Giants look like.
By the way, I do need to say one thing, and I'm going to pull the line out that you hear me say all the time when you talk about whether they should have kicked the extra point or gone for
Yeah.
two. It's a fallacy of a predetermined outcome. Number one,
Right.
because who knows if whether they scored a 2-point conversion or the extra point. If did we really think them being up 19-0 that they were going to squander a lead? No,
No.
because the Giants are actually playing good football now. All of a sudden, Dart's figured it out. Scatterboo is probably going to be Rookie of the Year now. That guy looks incredible. They got incredible value out of him in I think the second round.
Yeah.
Right.
The one thing that worries me about Cam Scatterboo is his shelf life.
Yeah.
He is a really wait, let me just look this up for a second. Cam Scatterboo is he's not a particularly big running back. He is 5'10", 219. Not huge. He's
Wow.
not like a Le'Veon. I mean, he's not a scat back, but like he's not, what Le'Veon Bell was.
It's not
a
Saquon
Marshawn Lynch.
either.
Right. He's not a Derrick Henry, and he's 23, and he gets hit a lot. He's playing very well. He gets hit a lot. He is not good at avoiding hits.
Or absorbing the hit.
Right. I'm worried a little bit that he's going to get hurt and that he won't last if he doesn't change his style a little bit. I think that's part of the reason running backs' shelf life tends to be so short is that he's just not good at avoiding hits. And I think that might come back to bite him, especially a guy his size. Like he could get away with that in college, especially when you play in the Big 12, a conference notorious for not playing defense, and you play fewer games. You can deal with that. And also, just it's not the pros. The NFL guys are bigger, they're faster, they're stronger, and you're playing 17 games. Like, I think that might catch up to him.
No, I agree. I mean, I also think Dart's got to be a little careful too when he takes
Yeah.
off and runs because there's quite a few times where they've had to like pick him up off the field and take him off, like and put him in the blue tent multiple times because they think he's going to get a concussion. He's not a big enough guy like some of these other guys that can absorb the hits. Like Lamar's a big frame. He can absorb those hits. I'm trying to think of it.
Well,
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen definitely. Lamar Jackson is actually smaller than Dart, or at least lighter, I
But
think.
I think he's built a little bit differently than Dart,
Well,
though.
Dart is heavier than Jackson, but Jackson is so fast. I think Jackson is very good at avoiding hits, and he's much more experienced. I mean, Lamar Jackson is probably the most athletic quarterback we've ever seen.
Yes, and when Jaden Daniels is healthy, I think he would be up there.
I think that the comparison you would want to, I think the player you'd want to compare Dart to would be Cam Newton, who was very heavy, who is very big and was able to absorb hits
Well,
very
he
well.
was like 6'5" or something, right? Like he was like Cam was tall. Like
Yeah.
I want to look that up because I don't remember. Let's see.
Mm.
He was 6'5". 6'5".
Yeah, Cam was built like a wide receiver, like a big wide receiver or a tight end, and he was able to take hits. Now, if you look at running quarterbacks, I think Russell Wilson was the smartest running quarterback because he was the best at avoiding hits.
I
But
mean,
Mahomes is also really good at avoiding hits.
but Mahomes is nowhere near a running quarterback at all.
You don't think Mahomes can? I think he's kind of in the middle.
He's better, is what I'll say. He's improved. Because I saw him this game alone today. He
I
took
mean,
off and is gaining the first downs more than he once was.
quarterbacks nowadays are almost all at least a little bit mobile.
They have
I
no
mean,
choice.
yeah, they kind of have to be. I mean, we're not going to see like the Eli and Peyton Mannings anymore,
I was just
where
going to
you
say
have the
that. Yeah.
mobility of a tree.
Well, or as I like to say, Eli has cement feet in the pocket.
Yeah.
And just didn't move. And instead of saying, "Oh, let me go get the 5 yards in front of me," I'm going to throw it 20 yards downfield just to try to go for the home run. Instead, Peyton
Yeah,
was the same way. Peyton was worse than Eli, in my opinion. He didn't take
but
off at
late
all.
in his career, Peyton was really bad with that.
I think he was afraid because of the neck injury, probably.
Yeah, yeah. But in terms of like just for the Giants, like this is just a disaster. And the thing is, I think that like Dart and Scattaboo may have saved Brian Dable's job.
I mean, this game doesn't do them any favors, though.
No, it doesn't do them any favors, but let's also put it in perspective. The expectations for the Giants weren't very high going in. I mean, it's awful now because they obviously should have won the game, and this game doesn't do them any favors. But in fairness, the Broncos were 6.5-point favorites.
True.
And they were going on, so it's not now.
And by the way, they won the tougher game last week, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I think if you want to say a game that saved him somewhat, it's the Eagles win. Because if I remember correctly, I don't remember what the line was. I think it was like a 4.5 or a 5, I think. And we all went into forecast that week saying that there was no chance in hell that the Giants were going to beat the Eagles. But the Eagles just almost didn't show up to play at all.
You know what it was? First of all, people complain about Thursday night football a lot, and I'm
I
not
don't
a
like
fan
it.
of. It's not that I don't like. I don't like the short week. I don't like the short rest. I think that it's okay to have Thursday night football, but do it after a bye week. That's how I think it should be.
Well, the other issue you're having too is all these international BSs, which they keep adding more and more and more of it. Like, this was the 4th straight week of London games and on
Right.
Sunday morning.
Well, Right, but, like, I don't think the same thing quite applies with London because it's not on short rest, and
But it's still
usually
time zone differences.
right, and I also think maybe there should be a bye week after that, something like that.
So there
But
is a rule for that, actually, and most teams don't take advantage of it. But the NFL did put a rule in place that if you travel, whether it's London, whether it's Berlin, wherever you go, you're allowed to opt for a bye week after you travel internationally, and most teams don't take it.
why don't they take it?
I think it has to do with what's it called? Culture, and like you don't want to disrupt your
But there's
process.
gonna be a bye week at some point anyway, so why not take it then?
You're right. I agree. But I think people just say they win the game. They don't want to like disrupt. Like, oh, I won a game. I want to. I want to play.
But I
You know
think
how athletes are.
that should be the case on Thursday night. But one thing about Thursdays is that Thursday night football, there seems to be more upsets on Thursday night. And the reason is because, first of all, here's the thing with the Giants Eagles game. The Giants Eagles had three equalizers. Even though the Eagles are a better team, there were three equalizers in that game. One, they were playing at MetLife, home team advantage, certainly, real thing. So they were playing at MetLife. It was on short rest, and it's a rivalry game. So those three things are equalizers. Were equalizers for that game. So it's not that much of a shock that the Giants were able to pull off that win.
I mean,
Uh,
of those three, I would just for my sake, I would pull out the rivalry thing. That one doesn't mean as much to me. The other ones matter. The being on the road, and what was the other one you said?
short rest.
Those two
Short
yeah.
rest always affects the better team a lot more, especially the Eagles who are very injured.
So
So
those two factors are the most important. Forget the rivalry thing.
rivalry game does matter. It does matter, not as much as it does in college, but I think in the NFL the rivalry game does matter. I think teams show up to play for
I
rivalry
mean,
games.
the weird thing is, and Michael's been doing it a lot on forecast lately. The data backs it up, at least for this year. All divisional rivalry games have been over in the total points every time.
Interesting.
And I don't know if that's just because, like you said, like in divisional games, like you're more aggressive, you want to win, so the offenses are a little more tuned in to those games. I don't know, but so far, every divisional
I
game
think it's
has.
probably a coincidence.
I think it's more coincidence or luck than anything, but I think, like you
Hmm.
said, partially divisional games matter, so you're going to be more tuned in because you have to win those games.
Right, right.
I'm looking at the rest of their schedule, by the way. So they're actually playing Philly again this coming week. So,
Yeah.
and I think that's at Philly, right? Yeah. So they're playing Philly. Then they play the Niners at home. By the way, what's happening to the Niners? Oof. Um,
Game
I don't
just
know.
started.
Injuries.
But
I picked Atlanta in that game, by the way.
but think about it. Like this game could really just end up killing the Giants because they play the Eagles next week, which is a loss. They play the Niners, that could be a win, and so maybe they could get it together against the Niners and the Bears. But
And
you
then
know
they have
what?
then they have a brutal schedule. So after that, Chicago, forget that game. Green Bay,
Wait, wait,
Detroit.
wait.
What?
Well, you're saying not Chicago. Okay,
Like, don't worry
Green.
about that. But Green Bay, Detroit, New England, that's a tough stretch,
Yeah,
especially
and
the
then
way
the
New England is
Commanders,
playing now. Like,
and then the Commanders if Jaden Daniels is healthy. I
he
mean,
got knocked out of the game though again today.
yeah, I'm just saying that could be that's a tough stretch, but I think okay, but outside of the Lions on the road, I think all those games are winnable. Like I don't know, the Packers needed to come back to the Packers are not a good road team. They lost to the Browns. They tied with the Cowboys. The Packers they needed a comeback to beat the Cardinals on the road. Um I think the Packers, the Patriots and the Commanders are all winnable games for the Giants from the way they've been playing.
Well, I don't think anyone's really beating the Patriots right now the way Drake May is playing, but because Drake May had another really good game today. Um, what was the score? I think it was
It was also
31 to
against the
13.
Titans. But it
What?
was also against the Titans.
Well, yes, agreed. But I'm just saying that. But they're playing consistent football now, and he looks really good. He's
And
escaping the
and by
pocket.
the way, all of their wins almost seem like better. Other than maybe their a lot of their wins seem to be like just better and better. Like they beat the Bills on the road, really good win.
That was a shocker.
They blew out the Panthers, and the Panthers almost don't even seem that bad. They're 4-3. I mean, sure they're not great, but they did beat them by like 30 points.
Well, here's the weird thing. So didn't the Panthers blow out the Falcons 30 to
Yeah,
nothing?
yeah.
And then they come back the next week and then they win. Like the NFL is a strange sport in a lot of ways.
Well, because the thing is that everything isn't so linear. Like it's like everything is just a matter of probability, and everything averages out. Like the thing is that like the Falcons are not the team that lost 30 to nothing to the Panthers, and they're not the team that beat the Bills. They're really somewhere in the middle.
By the
And
way,
that's what every team is,
I think the
except the
Falcons.
Jets.
I think the
Except the
Falcons.
Jets,
Yeah,
they're just bad.
I think the Falcons are playing really good football right now. Also, I think Bijan. I said this on Forecast, the episode that came out this past weekend. I think Bijan should get some MVP votes this year.
Yeah.
I know it's a quarterback award. I really don't care. I don't think quarterbacks should win the MVP every single year. Like I know they're the captain. I know they are the most important position, but if you look at the Falcons, Bijan is way more important than any other player on that team.
I don't think so. I think that if okay, let's say Bijan Robinson gets hurt. Or let's say Michael Penix gets who's the Falcons backup quarterback?
Well, it was Cousins. I don't know if he's on the roster anymore though. I can look that up, but
Is he Oh, it is Cousins. Okay.
oh, it is
Well,
Cousins.
maybe
Okay.
you can argue maybe with a team like Cousins, but the reason quarterbacks, here's the thing. The MVP in any sport, you can never really take at face value because it just would get boring at some point. Like, how many years in a row would LeBron have won MVP if it was literal? Like, he would have won, what, 5, 6 years in a row, and they wouldn't do that. Jokic would have won like 4 years in a row if they had, like, he was clearly the MVP for like 4 years in a row.
No, I
Like,
agree. Except for the
so, like,
one dumb year of Embiid, which shouldn't have won it.
but the thing with MVP, by the way, I think MVP in some cases should go to a guy who hasn't who's been injured and the team is terrible without him, and when he comes back the team is amazing. Like a situation like that I think is MVP worthy.
Look, this reminds me. Well, this is way back, like in the '90s, where when A-Rod was on Texas, and they were a terrible team,
Yeah.
terrible, and he was averaging 50 home runs plus a year. He ended up, and this is the rarefied air because this doesn't happen in today's sports,
Not
but
anymore.
he won an MVP. His team was so bad, losing 100 plus games a year. He won the MVP because his stats blew everybody else out of the water. That's how good his stats were compared to his team.
He was also juicing at the time.
Well, that too. But
So were a lot of other guys too, though. So he's
I
not
mean,
the only one.
before '03, before anybody really knew. But I'm just saying, I think in all sports, we take MVP too literally in a sense where it can only be the quarterback, it can only be the star player, it can only be. There are many other good players in the league besides the stars or the quarterback in the NFL.
Of course.
I'm telling you, if Bijan were to get hurt and had a season-ending injury, they would fall completely out.
I don't know. I don't think they'd fall out completely. I still think they could. I think it would matter a lot. I don't think they'd fall completely off. I don't know. It's hard to say. I do agree with you. I do agree he should have certainly consideration for MVP.
I mean, wasn't Saquon for a while considered for some votes for last year because of his incredible year?
Yeah. And it's hard. Look, it's hard to say that in any literal sense that Saquon was more valuable to his team than Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen were to their teams.
Well, I think people were just pissed because Josh Allen would have these amazing years and he would get looked over every single year. And then you had the whole Josh Allen versus Jackson
debate.
Stupidity.
And I thought Josh Allen should have won it either way. But also, I understand the reason he won it is because he hasn't won it yet, and Lamar Jackson had already won it. And but it's also like that's always how MVPs work. If SGA had won the MVP 3 years in a row and Jokic had never won it, Jokic would have won it last year instead of SGA.
But
So
see,
it's the same thing in every sport.
but I have a problem with that logic. I have a problem with that logic.
I know you do.
Where
I know, I understand your point, but the point I'm making is I'm living in reality, and I understand that that's obviously always the case.
yeah, but that's
I'm
called
not like,
bias.
right, but the point I'm making is not that there should be all this bias, but just that I recognize that it exists, and this is no different. That's the point. But also, it's not only that when it comes to the MVP last year. Last year, my view was Allen should have won it regardless,
I agree.
even if bias did play a factor. But that's
But like,
always just how it works. Everybody knows this.
but like it bothers me in a sense, like what people are saying about the whole Aaron Judge versus Cal Raleigh discussion, where everyone say, "Well, Aaron Judge had the better year." Really? Aaron Judge had the better year? Cal
Not that I
Raleigh,
care.
Cal Raleigh hit 62 home runs, drove in over 120 plus RBIs. Like he catchers, which by the way, it's rarefied air that a catcher wins an MVP because their job is twice as hard as some of these other guys out there
Yeah.
having to catch a staff. Now, I wish John Smoltz would shut up in the booth, partially because some of his reasonings are illogical at best. But he was saying, like, oh, well, if Cal Raleigh's not a catcher, then Aaron Judge wins the MVP award. And I'm like, what? Like, so in his mind, it has nothing to do with the stats, is basically what he's saying.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't. Who do you think is the MVP? Do you think it's Raleigh or do you think it's Judge?
Honestly, but like Raleigh doesn't have the batting average that Cal Raleigh has.
Okay, but I guess the backup argument.
Raleigh doesn't have the batting average that Judge has. I mean, here's the thing though. Like Judge is already a 2-time MVP. Raleigh's never won it.
See,
am I wrong about that?
No, you're right. You're right. But my point is, like, people are like Michael Kay was going up.
Okay. Aaron Judge hit 331 this year.
Okay.
I mean, not as many home runs, but like he
hit
wait
53
home runs.
Wait a second. So he missed 3 weeks out of the year. People are forgetting that also. So he missed 3 weeks due to injury. No, Judge.
Yeah.
So his average is
even more.
No, his average is going to be more inflated because he missed games.
Why would his average be more inflated because he missed games? It's an average.
Less games, your numbers are going to be higher.
Well, no, not for batting average necessarily. Unless your argument is that he would have. Unless your argument is that if he hadn't missed the games that he missed, his batting
average could have been lower.
It also could have been higher for all.
No, I'm not disagreeing, but I'm just saying, like, people are saying automatically, like, oh, he's the MVP, and I'm like, no, he's not.
Okay, but so Raleigh played 159 games. He hit 60 home runs. That deflates Aaron Judge's home run numbers. So realistically, I think Aaron Judge had a better year than Cal Raleigh did. I mean, their home run numbers were similar, and Judge had fewer home runs slightly because he didn't play in as many games, and Judge's batting average way better than Cal Raleigh's. The only thing Cal Raleigh has going for him is that he's a catcher, and that in some ways makes him more valuable. But I would say that I'm fine with Cal Raleigh winning it because he hasn't won it yet. So that's just how I.
But that's not. That's the frustrating thing that I hear.
But all I'm saying is, by any objective measure, Aaron Judge was the MVP over Cal Raleigh. Statistically speaking, in every way, he probably was more valuable to the Yankees than Cal Raleigh was to the Mariners. I just think that's fairly obvious.
I don't know if I agree with that 100%. But
I mean,
I think no. But when you say like, oh well, because Aaron Judge has won it, that means that Cal Raleigh should win it.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that's how they see it, not how I see it.
No, I get that. I'm saying, and that's what's leading to voters bias because basically what's happening is, oh well, Aaron Judge won twice. Like, let's give a pity vote to Cal Raleigh to win the MVP award. Like, I'm okay with someone winning the MVP 4 or 5 times in a row if they've had the seasons to back it up. I don't think there should be anything as MVP bias or most valuable player bias. I don't think it matters. Like Jokic proved that in three out of 4 seasons that he's such an incredible player that there was no one better. And it was BS when they gave Joel Embiid the award, considering he missed how many games during that year, like 20 or 25 in that
Yeah.
campaign.
Well,
So
I don't know. I don't. The point I'm making really is just that I don't really care that much about MVP awards. Like it's just something I just don't care about that much. I care about college football playoff rankings a lot more and things like that. But when it comes to awards, I just usually don't really care. I don't care that much about who wins the Heisman. I think there are years that players have gotten screwed out of winning the Heisman, and I just don't really care that much. That's really all it is.
it's interesting you bring up because I went on a rant for the ages on my show last week that I think they need to stop doing the AP poll before the college football playoffs and just do the rankings at the
Yeah.
beginning of November. And I think they need to stop ranking losses. Also, I
What do
think
you mean?
so. Those well, I lost to a high-profile team, so my loss is not as bad as your
Well,
loss. I think that needs to stop.
what you're saying that you don't think that losses you think all losses should be ranked the same?
I think it should just be a win and loss record like every other sport that we play.
Well, right, but that defeats the purpose of the rankings. That's why we have standings and conference.
No, no, I'm
Well,
saying
what you're asking for, it sounds like, is standings, which is fine, but that defeats the purpose of rankings. Like what I think makes college sports so great is the ranking aspect of it. The thing with the AP is that it just doesn't matter. However, it does influence the college football playoff rankings.
no, I agree totally. I think it's
Which matters,
bias.
but rankings. Look, I don't think. Here's the thing: I think a lot of people in college football try to screw an NFL screw into a college football hole, which
Well,
is that wins and losses in college football are not black and white for two reasons. First of all, the conferences are wildly uneven, uh,
that's true.
and and outside of the ACC, every team plays 9 of their 12 games in their conference. So whatever you say about divisions in the NFL, most of your games are outside of your division.
No, no, but
Second of all, it is way bigger. Like the differences in conferences in terms of like skill set with players is just way bigger in college football than it
okay.
is in the
Hold
NFL.
on, time out. So, in any other sport or any other, like when we grow up and we're playing sports in elementary and middle school and high school, have you ever heard of a system that says, well, my loss is better than your loss? Do you hear that
Not
anywhere else?
not in a standing system that I don't know. I don't follow high school sports at all. I don't know if high school sports has a
They
rankings
don't.
system. Okay. But college sports does. I know for a fact they have rankings in college basketball and college football. So it's not really that new of a thing. But the point is that what you're asking for is standings, which they do have in college football. Every conference has standings,
I know.
and it's all black and white, and there's tiebreakers and everything, just like in the NFL. But college football playoff rankings are completely different. You can't have standings with teams that don't even compete against one another. It's completely different. It's almost like you can't compare college football to the NFL. There's four major conferences,
No, I know
and
that.
they're
Yeah.
all wildly uneven in terms of ability. The ACC is way better than the Big 12. The SEC the Big 10 is way better than the ACC, and the SEC I think is better than the Big 10. You can't compare the conferences, and not to mention the fact almost every 3/4 of the games that you play in college football or within your conference. It's not the same thing as in the NFL where everybody kind of plays each other. Like that's why we have ranking systems. The other reason is because in college you control part of your own schedule,
Well,
so wins and losses can't be so black and white.
I, I'm I'm glad you brought that up because I don't like that either from the standpoint of that
I agree with you.
because you can. Well, I call it the payoff games
But
this
it's the
year.
same thing. It's the same thing in college basketball. They do
I
the
hate
same
it.
thing. I don't like the whole controlling your own schedule thing. I prefer it if you. I mean, I think every team. I think every team should have a set schedule. But the point is that if you have that system, you can't look at wins and losses as so black and white anymore. That's the
But
point I'm making.
but my question is, so by the way, those pay games have screwed how many teams this year already with the amount of upsets we've
Well,
had?
certainly it screwed Florida. Look, there's it screwed
Army,
uh
right?
who?
What didn't Army get upset by the team they paid?
Yeah, they might have.
I just
I
remember some
could be
school like
wrong.
Dominion ended up winning a game. I think.
It definitely screwed Florida. I can tell you that much. Not that they were going anywhere anyway, but
But my point is like, and then I saw, I think it was yesterday. So after the USC Notre Dame game on NBC, instantly Nicole Auerbach, who's one of the best to cover college football, um, she said they're already talking about a negotiation for rivalry games between them. I'm like, wait a minute, they should not be determining their schedule.
I agree. But it's been like that forever, and that's really the only point I'm making, which is that look, Notre Dame. The funny thing is that Notre Dame, because they control their entire schedule, they're not even they
They're
have to play
independent,
it. They're independent, although they're affiliated with the ACC. So if
correct?
they were
Yeah.
to join a conference, they would join the ACC. But they control a whole lot of their own schedule. But the interesting thing is that Notre Dame does play a tougher schedule than some teams that don't that play in conferences. Like I wouldn't say that they always that it's a given that they play the easiest schedule every year. It depends on how good USC is. A&M, they play A&M very often. They play USC every year, and whoever else they play on their schedule. Like this year, it also kind of depends on their ACC schedule also. But this year they've played a tough schedule. They lost by a combined 4 points to Miami and A&M. A&M is a top 5 team. Miami now is a top 10 team, but they're not a top 5 team anymore. But those are 2 good losses.
Oh, Callan made a good point also. Notre Dame usually plays Stanford every year
Yeah.
also. But
No, Stanford now is bad. By the way, I don't know if you saw it. You probably weren't even awake, but the Florida State Stanford game. Did you see how that game ended?
I saw part of it. Yeah.
So the way that game ended was Florida State. By the way, Tommy Castellanos got hurt on a late hit after he slid. Their quarterback, Kevin Sperry, I think his name is, their backup quarterback. The game ended on a reviewed touchdown. Now, I think he clearly got in. I mean, I will say the replays that they showed were not good. They were not good replays. I had no dog in this fight. I didn't really care. But I thought Florida State I thought the guy got in. I thought he was in. And they just said there wasn't indisputable evidence. They could have showed better replays. Maybe there's an angle I didn't see. But like I thought he was in. I thought it would look a little bit like the Jackson Dart play. I feel like the officiating in college football has just been so bad. I mean, in some games they're stopping like every other play. They're reviewing the call for like 20 minutes just for the call to stand. Like it's a waste of time.
I just want to point out because I looked up like outrageous payments that some of these schools have made. So 1.7 million, Marshall at Georgia. The only previous meeting between the Thundering Herd and the Bulldogs was 2004, when the latter prevailed at home 13-3. Georgia's paying even more to Charlotte for a November 22nd visit to Athens, 1.9 million. That was agreed upon 6 years ago.
Wow.
This is what I find effed up. Like that you could just say, "Oh, I'm going to pay a school, and I'm either going to show up or they're going to show up." Now, doesn't that? And I'm going to throw a point back at you. Is doesn't that defeat the purpose of the rankings? If you're you're supposedly buying a game because you think you're going to win it easily, because that's why you're paying the money. Doesn't that defeat the purpose of playing that type of game as part of the rankings?
Um, yes, on some level, but like those games don't really count for the rankings anyway, unless the team loses. Like say like when Alabama plays a team like Mercer
Yeah,
in late November every year, it doesn't really matter when these SEC teams play those teams because it only matters if they end up losing those games. So, and everybody's doing it, so it's almost like an equalizer. It almost doesn't really matter. Unless you lose that game, it's not going to affect rankings. So it doesn't really affect rankings at all, I would say.
oh, right. Callan said also Bama playing Eastern Illinois before they played Auburn. Also,
They do that every year. At the SEC, they do that every year. But here's the thing. At least the SEC is playing 9 conference games now. The ACC, which is an easier conference, now is still playing 8 conference games. I think there should be a standard of okay, every conference plays 9 conference games.
should
That's
play
how
the
it
same
should.
number. Every single conference should play the same number.
Yeah, every conference should play the same number, especially the ACC. The ACC is probably the third. I mean, the Big Ten and SEC are playing 9. Why can't they play? Well, and the ACC is playing 8. That's ridiculous.
It should all be the same. It's like not that it's the same exact example, but like in MLB, they all play the same amount of division games. In the NBA, they play the
Although,
same amount of division games.
although in the MLB they have their own thing, which is that every stadium's fence is a different length. I
Oh
mean,
God, yes.
like the Yankees, they're playing in like a triple A ball. They're playing like a little league ballpark almost with their fence. So
And Callan made a good point. Also, we had watched Chapel Bill lose to Cal on Friday. Also, that
that was tough.
that was brutal. And there was I don't think there was really anyone in the stadium either, which made that worse. But I'm glad Callan brought up that point because I wanted to ask you do you find it insane the amount of coaches that are being bought out and like all the craziness that's going on around firings, or do you think this is like a little bit normal at all?
No, I actually think that teams are more the only firing that's happened so far that I found to be a little bit odd was the Billy Napier firing, which just happened, and
Today.
they
Yeah.
fired him after a win. I've never seen a head coach get fired mid-season following a win.
Well, or at least they would wait for a bye week or something, which
Well, but like who when do coaches get fired right after they win
they
a
don't.
game?
They don't.
What the hell is going on down there?
Well, and that's why, like, the reason I brought up bye week is because I thought Belichick was going to get fired in the bye week. That's what I thought was going to happen.
You know who was going to get fired?
Belichick.
Oh, Belichick.
I thought
Um,
Belichick was going to get fired in the bye week because the rumors were swirling around like crazy, and they're just not. They're going nowhere. And actually, I want to talk about that story that I shared with you also with Lombardi going to Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia, man. The Saudis have been in the news a lot lately in the comedy world, in the sports world.
That
The
story
Saud
blew my mind, by the way, that apparently like 2 weeks before the season, apparently, he was traveling to Saudi Arabia for funding, air quote, which, by the way, this funding thing is getting out of control for college sports, but mostly college football. But NIL has caused a ridiculous amount of funding problems now, like in how they have to get the money.
Well, NIL has made I think the NIL has made programs a little more hesitant to fire head coaches because it costs a lot of money to buy them out.
I think it's the complete opposite, actually. I think it's that they're more willing to fire because the budgets are higher with the amount of money that they're taking
No,
in for schools.
no, but now they're okay, but now they have to spend more money on NIL. So it's an add like the NIL isn't just an added expense for these schools. And the truth is, I don't think it's the case that schools are firing the only like I said, the only one that seemed odd to me was the Billy Napier one, which I don't know. Florida's a weird program.
But
They're not like they fire head coaches for they're a program that's a little bit like that. But like you look at Mike Gundy, Deshaun Foster, James Franklin. I mean, those teams just had epic collapses. UCLA and Oklahoma State were like the two worst programs
We're
in the
double-digit
Power Four.
favorites in both games, right? Penn State.
Yeah, and Penn State lost 3 straight games, 2 of them as 3 touchdown favorites.
Yeah.
It's like the circumstances in which these coaches were fired were so dire. And by the way, UCLA made a good move firing Deshaun Foster. He was clearly the problem because look at how great they are now without him. So,
Well,
and
I
Mike
think their
Gundy
quarterback situation's not good either, though.
no, but it's like they were still able. They still ended up beating Penn State. Look how great! Like there's no way UCLA beats Penn State with Deshaun Foster as the head
Oh no,
coach.
but
So,
yeah.
like I don't think these programs really want to fire their head coaches. I think that they're more hesitant. I really do think that programs now are more hesitant to fire their head coaches because of NIL. They don't want to buy out these contracts.
Well, I wanted to point out a few things and see what you thought of it. So the James Franklin one is interesting. Colin and I talked about it on Press Row, and it was right around when the Adidas rumors started. Which, by the way, I don't think anybody knows what the answer to that is, and we're never going to know because
It's
Penn.
I'll tell you, I think it's nonsense.
Oh no, I think it's the complete opposite.
You think Adidas got him fired?
No, I don't know. I don't think they got him fired. I think that because they claim that the deal didn't provide them the money to pay off the contract. Like they're basically walking around it, essentially saying like,
Here's the thing, though. There was a report, and I think the guy said that.
"Oh yeah, the West Virginia and the pick guy." Yeah, I know who you're talking
And
about.
I think he was saying that, like, then he like retracted it and said, "No, that is not what happened."
He
Apparently,
didn't retract what he
Well,
said.
what exactly did he say?
So
I want to get it right.
I have to see if I can find the tweet or if Callan's listening, he has it too. But essentially, he was saying that Adidas was involved. They threw Nike to the curb. Originally, Penn State had a huge deal with Nike, and and then Adidas came over the top with like a $300 million deal. They kicked Nike out and they signed the deal with Adidas. And then the rumors and speculation that came out was that they signed the deal and then this part I don't believe, but the speculation was that Adidas was like behind the scenes saying like we wanted his ass out of here three games before it happened. I don't believe that, by the way. But the part I do believe is that they're never going to say, "Hey, we signed the deal with Adidas so we can get the extra money." They're never going to admit that.
But here's the thing, though. Does anybody actually believe that Adidas is that invested in Penn State football that they were willing to pay most of $50 million of a $50 million buyout just to fire James Franklin?
No, but
Does
but
anybody believe that? That doesn't
No.
make sense.
but I do believe that the money was partially used to pay the buyout.
I believe maybe Adidas probably paid some of it. I don't believe they paid most of it.
I'm not going to speculate on how much because we're never going to know. But I do believe that some of that money was used because the school definitely did not have enough money. And the other weird thing I read about that also is that apparently Penn State athletics is a separate. They control the entity of the sports budget, not the school itself. Separate budget.
Right, but Penn State athletics is still like a part of the Penn State.
Right, but there's a separate budgeting that they do.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess that's a common thing.
I don't.
Doesn't sound that crazy.
It just sounded odd the way they said it, but that was one thing I thought that was odd. I think, and then the contract clause in his deal that he's probably going to make no money from his buyout, depending on because on College Game Day, which I did watch this on Saturday morning. He said, I'm raring to go to win a national championship in another place, which implies he wants another job for sure. He doesn't want to go to the media.
He has to look for another job as a.
Well, it's either that or media. They said it could be one or the other.
Right, it could be one of the, but which, by the way, is not unique to James Franklin. Every college football coach's buyout has terms and conditions like that.
They said that was the first time that was ever a contract clause.
I don't think that's true. I mean, I know Jimbo Fisher had the same thing.
He had no clauses. He had no clauses.
Maybe I think most buyouts have something.
He was paid straight out like $76 million, if I remember correctly. It was the highest buyout in college football history at Texas A&M. Um,
Which, by the way, that was yeah. His buyout conditions are that Penn State must pay him
well,
$49.7 million. That
and
amount
then
will be reduced if he
it,
accepts a new coaching job.
well, he would get the difference because technically he's owed $8 million a year, I think, through 2031. And then say he were to get another job or college game day or big noon kickoff, which actually makes more sense because he was in the Big Ten. But say like they sign him for $3 million a year or whatever, they would just have to pay $5 million a year to offset the difference.
So I'm looking at Mike Norvell.
Oh, Mike Norvell.
Got that. Mike Norvell's buyout. I think that I'm pretty sure a lot of them have that type of condition because I'm
Well,
pretty sure Jimbo Fisher had a similar one. Maybe I'm misremembering,
the reason I
but
remember it so well is because they said as soon as he walked away, they had to pay him $76 million. Um,
uh,
what was the other one?
wait, hold on. Buyout.
Napier's deal was kind of weird. So he had 20 million left from what I understood, and they had to pay him the full 20 million.
Yeah, well, maybe it depends on how big of a buyout it is. Uh, uh,
So these buyout clauses are insane. Some of them. Like that you could just say, "Oh, I don't want you anymore, but we got to pay out all the money."
Well,
That's
that's the reason they have the buyouts because, like, being a college football coach, you don't have. I mean, it's the same thing in professional sports too. Like, they're like you have to end up like Aaron Glenn got a 5-year deal with the Jets. Like, you have to pay that money to them. It's not like the rest of us. Most people, regular people, are have at will are employed at will, so they can fire you anytime. But in college, but your job is generally secure in, say, a corporate environment, much more than in college football, where they might fire you on a whim if you lose 2 games in a row. The reason these buyouts exist is so these coaches are protected.
no, I get that, but it was weird. It's almost like the James Franklin deal had like free insurance on it because it said you have to go get a job and we're only going to pay the difference that's left. That's like paying for insurance without paying for it.
Sort of, but it's like this is definitely not the first time a condition like because I've definitely seen this before. It might not be in every buyout, but I've definitely seen this. I have to look it up, but I'm pretty sure that this is not that it's not particularly uncommon for college football coaches to have to look for a job. I could see him now where he's going to go. I could see him being in media. I could see him being a commentator. I don't know if he wants to go back to coaching. I
He
think the
said
funny
it.
thing about
He said it on College Game Day. He said he wants to
that
go
he
play for a national championship.
doesn't mean he's going to actually do it
Oh no,
though.
no,
He
I'm
might
not saying he will. I'm just saying like he was pretty aggressive on College Game Day. Said he's like, I want to find my next opportunity to win a title. But
look.
is a big school going to take a chance on him though?
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. Yes.
Okay.
How can you not? Is he not the best head coach currently available without a job outside of maybe Urban Meyer, who probably doesn't want to coach anymore? But like, is he not the best one by far?
What about
I mean, like,
Saban?
look, yeah. Does Saban want to coach?
Well, I'm not saying he will. I'm just saying like I think
Okay,
if
fine.
he would,
Outside of Saban and Urban Meyer, who very likely don't want to coach, I don't think Saban wants to coach. Really,
even
I
though
think
the
if
rumors
anything,
keep coming out.
I think Saban is more likely to go to the NFL. I don't think Saban wants to coach in this era of college football. And I'm not convinced Urban Meyer wants to coach.
Oh, the NIL.
Those
Yeah.
two are better head coaches than James Franklin was. But James Franklin is also way more likely. My point is, James Franklin is more likely to want a job than those guys are. So for most programs, for a lot of programs, James Franklin is just like it would be like striking. It would be like finding. It's like striking gold to get a guy like James Franklin for a lot of
So
these programs.
so I guess I'll ask is what is the openings? You know this way better than I do. So what are the potential openings, big school wise?
Well, Oklahoma State,
Okay.
UCLA.
Oh, God.
Although I actually no, probably not UCLA because UCLA is no UCLA is probably going to hire maybe Jerry Neuheisel, the offensive coordinator, the interim offensive coordinator. He might be the head coach, or they'll keep the interim guy they have now. Arkansas. There, although Bobby Petrino is actually the interim head coach at Arkansas right now, believe it or not. Um,
Did you see that
maybe,
story, by the way, that I forgot what school they were playing, but they did a video or a picture of him wearing a neck brace and the
yeah,
motorcycle? Who was that?
there was Bobby Petrino who had.
No, no, I'm saying who were they playing that they made that joke or whatever? Because I just saw that. Trying to see if I could find it. Oh, here it is. It was Texas A&M trolled Bobby Petrino,
Oh, okay, yeah,
and they had the full neck brace, and they put him in a Texas A&M like full gear on a motorcycle. It
yeah.
was, I mean, come on, guys, really?
They always do that though in college football. But yeah, those are two. Oh, by the way, now Florida, they have an opening. I mean, it is funny though when you see like the dichotomy of different programs. You have some programs that like they fire the head. You look at a team like Florida that fires their head coaches after every couple of years, but you also look at teams like that are just satisfied with eternal mediocrity. I mean, you look at Iowa, you look at Kentucky. I mean, you can win 7 games every year at Kentucky and stay there for and like just keep your job. Like Kentucky is just cool with Kentucky, Iowa, they're just cool with eternal mediocrity. But you look at a team like Nebraska, they fire the head coach every couple of years. You look at a team like Florida, they fire their head coach every couple of years. Like it is kind of unbelievable to see that. Auburn, I mean, they're always unhappy with their head coaches. Like it is funny just to see that dichotomy.
No, that is interesting.
I mean,
I know you,
LSU, they fired Ed Ogeron right after like a couple of years after they won a national championship.
he was always a funny guy to me, personality
Yeah.
wise. Like just watching him. I know you got to run out, but can you just do this last story because I'm interested in it?
Yeah.
The Lavernius Cole cop
Yeah,
story.
Lavernius Coles is now a police officer.
I'm reading the SI story now because that's the only one I can find.
Yeah,
But
he's 47 years old and became a police officer. The funny thing is that I don't know how it works in every state and every city. You could probably retire at 47 years old if you're a police officer. If you start at say 22, you serve for 25 years, you could probably retire, right?
I don't think it has to do with age. The only reason I know this is
No, I'm
because
saying if you serve as a police officer
yes,
for 25 years,
it's all about
you could
years. Yeah.
I think you could probably retire in most jurisdictions. He's 47 and is now becoming a police officer. It does make beg the question though, how like was he not paid enough money that he was set for life as an NFL player?
So it says he was. Let's see. He signed a 4-year, $28 million contract with the Bengals in March of 2009. Let's see.
He might just be bored, honestly.
I mean, we all know the history of a lot of athletes. What happens to them when their career is over? They go bankrupt.
Well,
Not, not everyone, but
it's not just a money issue. It's also just a purpose issue. I mean, professional athletes retire abnormally early.
well, yeah, because part of it is physical, part of it is mental.
Like retirement makes sense when you're 70 years old, but it's not normal to retire in your 30s. Like that's psychologically just something most people don't understand. It sounds like a good problem to have to most of us, but really to them, it's not always so great. Like there is a little bit of an identity crisis for a lot of these athletes.
Well, yeah, because all they did for from the time they were in elementary to college is played sports, and that's all they did.
And now imagine getting pulled over and it's Lavernius Coles.
Hey, I know you.
Honestly, though, I don't think I'd recognize him.
I don't think anyone would.
I get like most Jet players that I've seen in my life, I would not recognize outside of the quarterbacks.
Yeah, I mean, it is you could definitely tick this under athlete odd story becoming a cop. Well, not that this is the same thing, but Shaq technically became a cop for a little while.
Actually,
Yeah,
I think it's great if cops could all just be Shaq size.
I mean,
You avoid a whole lot of fights, a whole lot of shootouts. If
I'm
somebody,
looking this up just to confirm. Uh, okay. So Shaq became a reserve police officer after retiring from basketball, holding positions in several departments like LA Port Police, Miami Beach, and Doral, Florida. He was sworn in as a commissioned deputy sheriff in Georgia in 2016 and also holds honorary deputy titles in other areas. But if I remember, he actually did go out and protect people at certain times. And like,
look,
do you remember how he got in trouble, by the way?
as a police officer,
Well, it's not as a police officer, but he had the titles and he had the badge and all that stuff. Do you remember the Kobe versus Shaq, the rap battle thing that he did at the
yeah,
party? Hey Kobe, tell me how my blank tastes. Do you remember that whole thing?
yeah. He
So
has been involved in law enforcement since 2002.
so after that rap thing came out, they took away all his police stuff because
Oh, really?
they said police don't act that way.
How are you a reserve police officer?
Yeah,
How does that work? Is that
I
like the
was wondering that
military?
same question myself.
Like, if there's just a spike in crime, do they call you? Is it
Is that like the town watch or whatever when
neighborhood watch? No, that's completely different.
I'm joking. I'm just saying like
But, like,
neighbor watches all volunteer.
that is just but honestly, being a police officer, that is, like, the last job I would
The
ever
HOA.
take. First of all, I don't want my job I don't wanna carry around a gun for 40 hours a week, and
No.
also, I mean, you're working crazy hours, and sometimes like, police officers sometimes work, like, 12-hour shifts.
Sometimes more, depending if there's emergencies.
And
I
it's
mean,
dangerous. It's a dangerous job.
when you wear
Like,
a uniform, you're in danger
every time
almost.
you pull somebody over, like, you could be you
Shot.
don't know who you're stopping,
You could be shot,
especially
unfortunately.
especially on a highway. It could be anybody. Like, like, it is such a bad job. Like, it is such a like, it is a job that is
And
just,
sometimes
like,
you're dealing with deranged
oh
people too,
yeah,
like
like, you deal with deranged people more than anybody else does.
and they have to have patience too. They can't just be like, "All right, I'm taking out a nightstick or whatever and start hitting
Yeah,
people."
yeah, yeah,
Like,
exactly. It's a really, really difficult job that I just
don't get
it's
me
the
wrong.
last
There's
thing
there's
I ever
cool aspects like you can break through windows, like if you have to do whatever to get into places, but like you have to have a lot of patience. That's why they've added more mental stability tests to becoming a cop more than ever.
well, I think that, like, most people who become police officers wanna help out, although I think some people who become cops are the schoolyard bully.
Yes, I
I
agree
think that there's
totally.
certainly an aspect of that also, that I think certainly exists.
No, I think you're totally right. What was your I know we're way over, but what did you think of the Bob Myers thing? Because I know you wanted to talk about that.
Yeah,
He's basically working under I can't remember the commander's owner's name now. He owns the Sixers and the Devils and all those.
yeah, I don't know. So he was the GM, and now what's exactly his title now?
So he was at ESPN as an NBA analyst. He was still doing this work on the side with the Commanders, and I have to look it up now because I can't remember. Harris, Josh Harris. It was his ownership group that owns all the teams. He's like one of the
Yeah.
more richer owners in professional sports. But let me see if I can find this really fast. Okay. Let's see. Former Warriors GM Bob Myers leaving ESPN to become president of Harris Blitzer Sports and Entertainment. That's Josh Harris's company.
I think I would rather be an NBA analyst. I think being an analyst is like
More fun.
to me, being an analyst on ESPN is like the best job in the world.
You
Like,
show
you
up, you
don't
talk basketball or whatever sport you're talking
yeah,
about, you go
and that's
home.
really all you get paid really well. You get paid
Obscene
a lot of
amounts.
money. You get right. And it doesn't matter if you're wrong. There's no pressure on you to be the best analyst. I mean, Kendrick Perkins is still there.
It's
Like,
like
if
being a weather
Kendrick
person.
Perkins, it was like some of the like look, former players, sometimes analysts, sometimes have the dumbest takes. Sometimes the dumbest takes. Kendrick Perkins can last as an analyst at ESPN. That's the best job in the world.
Go ask Ryan Clark.
Yeah. And Ryan Clark, it says controversial things. He's an idiot, and he's still around.
Well, I'm sorry, I'm going in a million tangents, but what did you make of the whole thing of Ryan Clark and the whole Kyron situation?
He was complete. First of all, like when I addressed it, I said if this is true, this is a huge deal.
Right.
The thing is that Kyron Lacey's lawyers released footage. Keyword: his lawyers
Yeah.
released footage without context and said he was 100 yards behind the crash. Well, when was he 100 yards behind? Because the police were not in any way suggesting that he literally crashed into those cars, but that he caused the accident, which it's like a miss and run type of thing.
Hit and run.
So
Yeah.
what he had to do, like it's ridiculous to just not even look at the footage and just draw the conclusion that the police were lying. Now, there was some questionable conduct by the police. Like they were coaching a witness on how to make a statement.
Yeah, I
There
heard
were
about that.
things that were really a little shady on the police
Well,
officers.
first of all, that's illegal, number one. But
Right. But also, the other side is, first of all, Kyron Lacey killed himself. So
yes.
it does lead me to believe that he likely knew that he was guilty, but also that he immediately called his lawyer after leaving the scene. That's
Well,
also a little suspicious.
well, he's an athlete. That doesn't surprise
So
me,
I'm
though.
just like, look, if I didn't hit a car and I saw an accident happen and I knew I didn't cause it, my first instinct is not let me call my lawyer because unless I think I'm going to get blamed for it. So there's a whole lot of circumstantial evidence that leads me to believe Kyron Lacey was not exonerated of anything, and
Right.
it's like I just don't think it really proved a whole lot that his lawyers. I mean, it's very sad that he killed himself. I'm not denying that, but and he probably would have been fine. Like he likely wouldn't even have faced jail time.
Yeah,
But
but I think Ryan Clark took it a step too far a little bit.
I
Like
mean,
even
Ryan Clark says a lot of stupid shit.
well,
So
yes, but and even SVP, who
I mean,
surprised me.
Ryan Clark criticized like RG3 talked about Angel Reese, and Ryan Clark made it
His
about
wife.
how RG3's wife is white, which is completely just
An
like a
insane
white.
argument.
Like if Ryan Clark was white, it was the other way around. He probably would have been fired for saying something like that because that
Yeah,
would be so
reverse
out of line.
racism there. Like,
Right? Like that would like that. I think is just crazy that he gets away with saying that.
I think that's the reason why RG3 left
It's
ESPN,
also
go to
it's
Fox.
also
Actually, he
just
got fired. Actually,
It's also an irrelevant. Well, he was laid off. It's also
laid
just
off. Yeah.
forget the fact that it's racist. It's also just a stupid argument. Like it has
Well,
nothing to do with anything.
I think Ryan Clark has foot and mouth syndrome quite a bit, or diarrhea of the mouth.
Yeah.
If you really want to make it more graphic that way, but I think he just speaks whatever he wants, and then he deals with the consequences afterwards. Like if he could have blown up an entire building with whatever he said, and then I didn't mean it. What do you mean you didn't mean it? You said it.
Look,
And he also,
Ryan Clark's been making appearances on ESPN since. I mean, even while he was playing, he was making appearances on First Take. He's been like this forever.
and ESPN keeps giving him 3-year deals.
I mean, it's like the whole thing with Jamel Hill
Ugh.
and how she, went crazy. But it's like Jamel Hill was always kind of like that. She wasn't quite as crazy. She took it a step further, but it was a very predictable thing. Like it wasn't crazy that she made the turn that she did.
I have no respect for Jamel Hill whatsoever. Just at all.
Anyway, I gotta go. We're way over.
Yeah, you're right.
But yeah, thanks for tuning in, everybody. This was Moving the Goalposts Leftovers. I'll see you guys on Thursday this week.
Yes.